everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into something that's really changing the game of ownership itself. I want you to imagine owning a tiny slice of a skyscraper, or maybe that cool startup in your town, or even a new solar farm. Assets that have pretty much always been off limits. We're going to break down the tech that says it can make all of this possible for, well, everyone. So let's just start with a really basic question. Why is it so hard for most of us to invest in a promising company before it hits the stock market, or to own a piece of a huge real estate project? I mean, why do these incredible wealth-building opportunities feel so completely out of reach?
Well, the short answer is that there's basically a massive wall built around these types of investments. It's a system that's all about exclusivity, complexity, and frankly, a whole lot of friction.
Yeah, the hurdles in the old system are just huge. First off, you've got the crazy high price of entry. We're often talking tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get in the door. And okay, let's say you get in. Your money is then typically locked up for years, sometimes a decade. It's totally illiquid. It's a world of complicated, slow paperwork and exclusive access that's really designed to keep most of us on the outside looking in. But what if there was a digital key to that kingdom, right? What if technology could just start tearing down those walls? That's the promise we're digging into today, because we are entering a totally new era of how we own things. And that digital key, it has a name. It's called tokenization. All it really is the process of taking the rights to a real-world asset, like a share in a company or the deed to a property, and converting them into a secure digital token that lives on a blockchain. The easiest way to think about it is with a pretty simple analogy. Imagine taking a massive, super expensive asset, like an entire office building, and digitally slicing it up into thousands of tiny, affordable pieces, kind of like a pizza. Each one of those little slices is a token, and it represents real ownership that pretty much anyone can buy.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work in the real world? The entire process really just boils down to three core pillars.
So it all starts with creation, which is just dividing that big asset into those smaller, fractional digital shares. Then comes management, and this part is really key. The blockchain acts as this perfect, totally transparent record of who owns what, replacing those slow, messy spreadsheets. And finally, and maybe most importantly, is the ability to transact, which gives investors a way to actually buy and sell their pieces.
And that last point, it is absolutely critical. I mean, think about it. What good is owning a piece of something if you're stuck with it forever? This brings us to the single biggest problem with traditional private assets: liquidity, or really the complete lack of it. Tokenization actually tackles this head on by creating two different paths to liquidity. The first one is kind of like an internal marketplace, sort of a private bulletin board where investors in a single project can find each other and trade directly. But the second path, that's the holy grail: listing the token on an external, licensed exchange, opening it up to a global market. For the very first time, this gives private investors something they've almost never had before: a choice and a clear path to an exit. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like for the people using it? Let's peel back the curtain and look at the tools that bring this all to life, for both the investors and for the people issuing these assets. For you, the investor, this means going from total confusion to complete clarity. Just imagine a single dashboard where your entire portfolio of these private assets is right there, in one place. You're not just a passive owner anymore. You can actually vote on key company issues. You can sign agreements digitally, and you can see how everything is performing in real time. It puts all the control right back at your fingertips. And then for the company or the person issuing the asset, the efficiency gains here are just massive. Their control panel automates everything, from managing the entire shareholder list to running all those compliance checks like Know Your Customer. Distributing dividends suddenly becomes a one-click process. It basically transforms what used to be a mountain of administrative work into a simple, streamlined operation. And let's be clear, this isn't the Wild West of crypto, not at all. These are regulated securities. The source material points out a really crucial feature. Administrators can forcefully transfer tokens in compliance with regulations. So what that means is that there are real-world rules and safeguards built right in, whether it's for a court order or just to help an investor who lost their password.
All right, so let's zoom out for a second. We've seen the what and the how. But now it's time to talk about the why. Why does all of this technology actually matter so much? When you put it all together, the impact really breaks down into three big things. First, you're opening the door to millions of people,
by dramatically increasing accessibility. Second, you're stripping out massive costs and delays by boosting efficiency. And third, you're solving the single biggest problem in private markets by finally creating real liquidity. So ultimately, what we're really witnessing is a fundamental shift. This isn't just about some cool new technology. It's about democratizing access to wealth. It's about breaking open a system that has, for a very long time, been reserved for a very small group of people, one digital token at a time.
And that really opens up a world of possibilities. So I'll just leave you with a final thought to chew on. If you could own a piece of anything in the world, a sports team, a famous landmark, a breakthrough startup, what would you choose? Thanks for watching.